Golden Dunes. Bardo, how long does it take to sift through all the grains of sand to find the one that will show the way home? Luna asked the ant. She took the hourglass in her hands and, swinging it up and down, began pondering the answer. After a long silence, which didn't surprise Luna at all, since she learned the ant story, she replied, 36 days and 36 nights, but I know those who claim numbers don't matter, though I believe it's quite the opposite. That's true. Luna nodded and then said to Bardo, and if you took a paper and pen and could write a script of a story, what would it be like? And where would this story begin to exist? In the desert. Bardo answered without hesitation, as if she had been waiting for this question for many long years. Because the desert counts days, but doesn't count steps. You know that yourself. Luna wasn't sure if she knew, but she asked, and who would be its hero? Will you tell me more? Luna and Bardo sat across from each other not for the first time. The comfortable armchairs and brightly adorned room awakened in the ant a desire to return to old memories, which often still kept her tiny feet in place. Fragments of her stories, interrupted now and then by the ant's new thoughts, spoken in this warm room, made time seem to heal wounds better than all the remedies the ant had known put together. Well, not everyone is lucky enough to meet someone on their path who could listen so patiently to stories about grains of sand, like Luna. Finally, Bardo took a big sip of aromatic tea and, encouraged by Luna's gentle smile, began to speak. It's a story about a girl who stopped counting steps. It began one dawn when the sky hadn't yet decided whether it wanted to be navy blue or pink, as if it knew that colors matter too. They can carry information about what or who is to come. Like a pink blanket heralding the birth of a long-awaited baby girl. That dawn counted who knows how many long years, because measured by the number of sand grains, it could stretch like a bubble gum and was hard to define by time. I don't remember the girl's name, so perhaps we should call her Aria? She looked at Luna and, nodding to herself, repeated, Aria, because it reminds me of melody, power, and breath. And strong the girl had to be from a very beginning, since she survived everything the desert sent her way. Especially that dawn when the sky took on the color of night, and the wind began to swirl around her so strongly that she finally gave in and fell. It was hard for her to get up, and she found herself in the middle of a sandstorm, misled by childish naivety. For who could expect such a great storm at dawn itself? Exhausted by the raging sand and darkness around her, she began to cry deeply. And when the first real tears fell on the desert sand, she heard a pleasant giggle. That is, she wasn't sure if that was what she heard, but the joy and lightness in the voice were so inviting that she preferred to believe it was so. Especially since they came exactly from where green desert plants were visible, seen there only during vegetation. Get up! It's all because of him. He's lived his years, yet still acts like a master of cosmic riddles. Aria looked toward the bushes with curiosity, soothing her exhaustion with the new company. Don't you know the scorpion of two truths? The green sister laughed. And who was it yesterday warning you about the coming sandstorm, leading you straight into its center? They giggled. The green guardians of wisdom knew the secrets of many child's journeys. Obviously, he appeared so you would know what endurance is and could recognize illusion. They said with amusement, as if it were a most obvious thing under the sun. Indeed, Aria nodded. For some time I was accompanied by a reddish-brown figure in a shell, and yesterday it said it must go its own way from now on, while advising me to turn here, to the place of this storm. Head up, this won't happen again. They giggled once more, after which their amused and cheerful voices fell silent. Bardo, what do you think? When did Aria decide she would make this journey alone? Luna interrupted, turning to the ant. They say everything is decided before the first thought of the journey appears. Luna nodded her head in understanding, waiting for the rest of the story, so Bardo continued. After experiencing the storm in the desert, Aria was no longer the same. I think she had to grow up, though she wasn't in a hurry to do so. And because she walked alone, it didn't cross her mind that journeys with a good companion always brighten even the darkest paths. However, we can't always recognize who carries light in their hands to make our path more luminous. What's that? Aria exclaimed one very hot afternoon. The sun clearly marked midday. The air shimmered like a heated glass, and on the horizon, among the flickering waves of heat, a tall, slender figure appeared. Aria rubbed her eyes in amazement and began to quicken her pace, and when she finally found herself nearby, she saw 3 crowns in the stranger's hands, shining so brightly that she had to squint. Choose wisely, the dark figure whispered. 3 crowns hovered above the stranger's hands. Aria gazed at each of them for a long time, and a moment later her hands wandered on their own toward the last one. It shone like all night storms combined. As soon as she touched it, the echo of past days spread through her body like a wave of warm wind. But it was too late to change her decision, for the mysterious figure had vanished, and the remaining crowns turned into butterflies of light and dissolved in the hot desert air like mist, leaving her with a strange feeling of cold and a familiar rhythm of unease. So she placed the crown on her head and moved on. Her feet, weakened by the journey, had been marking tracks on the dunes for so long that she began to wonder if all these stories about a better world beyond the horizon were something intangible. Perhaps that's exactly why it's worth going further, Bardo said casually, to find out if the light beyond the horizon really exists. Anyway, the long journey had taught Aria to look beyond the horizon, and there, At the junction of a luminous passage between day and night, where everything seemed possible, she noticed something extraordinary. Yes! Now I see them. For sure! She rubbed her eyes and with her last strength began running toward the camels. Hey! You! Please stop! She shouted. And soon after, she fell. One of the camels approached her with calm steps and encouraged her to sit on its back, so it could be more comfortable for her from now on. Aria didn't know yet that this encountered guide carried within itself the stories of all lost wanderers who had ever crossed these sands. After a long moment of shared journey, she fell asleep. Led by exhaustion and an extraordinary feeling of certainty that everything turns out well after all, she allowed herself to be carried for 36 days and 36 nights, although Bardo directed a mysterious look toward Luna. Some say numbers don't matter, but I think it's exactly the opposite, especially in the desert, because the desert counts days but doesn't count steps. You know that yourself. She smiled gently at Luna. She returned the smile and asked, Bardo, could Aria find out if everything turns out well after all? Yes, absolutely, replied Anne and added, after all, she met Wataru, and from then on, everything became easier for her. Wataru led her to the oasis, showed her where and how to draw water, taught her not only how to smile, which she knew quite well already, but what to do to be able to laugh. Wataru showed Aria what it's like not to be too busy to spend time together, pointed the way out of the desert and introduced her to people who helped her with this, until finally she reached a place where she found everything she had longed for. The journey with Wataru also convinced Aria that in the dance of choices, our steps always remember the first melody, but it can be changed if we don't like that melody. Bardo, so is it possible to walk through the desert on your own little feet for so long? Luna added, yes. If you have absolute certainty and a feeling that something good will happen, or if you see a spark that awakens hope within you. A brief silence fell, and soon after, Bardo took the hourglass in her hands and began counting how many secrets she had already shared with Luna during their recent meetings. 1, 2, 3, 4 secrets, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20 secrets. 21, 22 of them, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 secrets, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54 of them, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69 secrets, 70, 71 of them, 72, 73, 74, 75 of them, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81 of them, 82, 83, 84, 85 secrets, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92 of them, 93, 94, 95, 96 of them, 97, 98, 99 secrets.